you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing experts say Jake Paul has no real chance to survive against Gervonta Davis. Shocker Stevenson explains that even though Jake is much bigger, his size won't help him win. He says Tank's better skills and experience will control the fight. Shocker thinks Tank won't look for a knockout since Jake is too big to drop easily, but he will outbox him for the whole fight and win on points.
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind, you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no. Nah, that ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz the Adult says Tank has already proved he can beat taller and stronger fighters like Ryan Garcia. He reminds people that Ryan was taller, faster, and explosive, but Tank still adjusted and beat him clearly. The analyst believes if Tank could close the gap against Ryan, who had real boxing skills, Jake will be no problem. Jake's size might look good on paper, but boxing is about distance, timing, and ring IQ. All things Tank does best. He says Tank knows how to read movement and set traps, and once Jake faces him, Tank's skills will show fast.
Emotionally, see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Mario Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgardner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3-minute, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgardner. Not really known for having great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgardner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra, and then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praises Gervonta Davis for always bringing huge attention whenever he fights. He says boxing is no longer just about skill, but about who can attract fans and bring life back to the sport. Tank represents that new energy. Every time he fights, he excites both hardcore and casual fans. Algieri adds that Jake Paul, while not as skilled has also helped make boxing popular again by attracting new viewers. He believes both fighters are good for boxing because they appeal to different audiences.
About the face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon, and the
face
of boxing is basically. Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White says Jake Paul's boxing career is only entertainment, not real fighting. He believes Jake's matches are just staged shows made for views and money. He says Jake hasn't faced a true top boxer who could really test him. Many real boxing fans agree and think Jake is using the sport as a marketing tool, not respecting it as a craft. Charleston believes if Jake fights someone like Gervonta Davis, fans will see the huge difference. Davis's training, reflexes, and experience against champions would easily expose Jake for him. Real legends are made in real fights, not exhibitions.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected voices, compares Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis to when Jake's brother Logan fought Floyd Mayweather. He says Jake may be bigger, but Tank's experience will decide the fight. Atlas calls Tank a dancer, a fighter who controls rhythm, pace, and energy. He says Tank has faced dangerous opponents all his career and knows how to break down anyone. Jake doesn't have the sharpness or awareness to compete at that level. Atlas says boxing isn't about size or strength. It's about timing and control. Every move Tank makes has purpose.
So I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa. Do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air. Bang!
Showbiz the Adult also talks about Gervonta Davis's personality outside the ring. He admits Tank might not be a great talker or businessman, but that's not what makes him dangerous. Tank's confidence comes from his tough upbringing, not speeches. Showbiz says Tank's body language during press events says everything. He never looks scared or nervous. When he faces opponents, his silent presence speaks louder than words. He notes that while Jake Paul is great at using media to promote fights, Tank doesn't need marketing. His aura is enough.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Not everyone thinks Tank can beat Jake Paul. Some experts remind fans that weight classes exist for a reason. They say Tank's power and speed are deadly at lightweight, but fighting someone much heavier like Jake is different. Boxing depends on physics. A 135-pound fighter against someone near 190 pounds faces big problems with reach and power. These analysts warn that Tank's punches may not hurt Jake the same way. Even if Tank lands clean, Jake's larger body might absorb the shots better.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think.
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. They have weight classes for a reason.
Davis
they have weight classes for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Dog.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
Even with all the doubts, many fans find Jake Paul's role in boxing exciting. The fight gets both hate and hype because it makes people curious. Some call it a money grab, but others say it brings fresh energy to the sport. Jake has a special way of keeping people talking, whether they like him or not. Every fight with his name draws attention. Fans watch to see if he wins or finally loses. That mystery keeps boxing exciting again. Even old-school fans agree that Jake's presence adds drama and life back to the sport.
A lot of people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oh, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British boxer Dave Allen gave a fair opinion about the matchup. He says he never liked Jake's fights with Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because they seemed fake, but he thinks the fight with Gervonta Davis might be different. Allen says as long as no one gets seriously hurt, it's fine since it entertains fans. He admits Jake isn't a top-level boxer, but his fights keep people talking, which helps boxing. Fans want to see how far Jake can go and how Tank handles a much bigger man.
In an exhibition. The thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level, like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good, but the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10, 11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions, but less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys again. He's fighting people that don't do the same. That they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard. I think he trains hard. And I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is he having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight didn't just come out of nowhere. Reports say Gervonta Davis has mentioned Jake Paul many times in the past, hinting at a future fight. Fans have been waiting to see if it would really happen, and now the talks are serious. Both fighters have traded words online, showing they want to settle things in the ring. Tank believes he can expose Jake's weaknesses, while Jake sees this as a chance to prove he belongs among real boxers.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beat his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is. I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The final debate among experts is about power. Gervonta Davis is famous for his knockouts at lighter weights, but many wonder if that power works against someone as big as Jake Paul. Tank's punches can destroy fighters his size, but against a much larger man, physics changes things. A hit that drops a 135-pounder might not even shake someone close to 200 pounds. Jake's size and reach could limit Tank's power. That doesn't mean Tank isn't skilled. It just means his usual approach might not work the same way.
Sense to me. Because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had. But even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta's even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd. But he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals. And when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating
meaning,
the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So again, the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.